resources, and we've been pretending to address those needs for years, and there are issues about in the children's system issues. They try to spread the broadest possible net, so they don't do a very good job of prioritizing needs. Mm-hmm. And there was a marvelous commission in the mid-90s which proposed a system of care for children that was going to be global and unified, and but it was created by a commission. So in Rhode Island, that means it was just a way of kicking the can down the road. Mm-hmm. I mean, we had a commission that said we need to obliterate 38 school districts 37 years ago.
Right, and that's where it stopped. Yeah.
Right. It's and the time is that's the larger picture. The time has come for us to decide whether we want good government or bad government, and it's being presented as the false choice of big government, small government, and we're getting to where if you don't want good government, you're going to wind up having to pay a bribe to get a license plate. Mm-hmm. You know, and that's about taxes, and that's about a lot of. It's about responsibility, and frankly, it's an argument that's been going on since Thomas Jefferson. But what bothers me is that the good government people, they win the argument and they have to do it all over again. I mean, 1847, the Whigs and the Democrats had mm-hmm. the same argument, and the Whigs won. But here we are, with the party that says kill the government, and a party that belongs. We're in a state of really sad decay. Mm-hmm. Sad decay.
Back to restoration. How do we fix it? Get back to the
well. You know, I'll tell you something. It's there's a detail. You know, there's detail and it's global. I mean, the devil's in the details, as is God. We could fix our mental health system by simply reasserting the priorities established originally. You know, just turning ourselves back to 1988. And
sort of under the reign of Neil Meisler, that kind of
yeah, that era when they actually, I mean, the Neil Meislers, long gone from us. Mm-hmm. I'm quite certain that they would have recognized trans-institutionalization as an unintended consequence of deinstitutionalization, and I can tell you, it's an unintended consequence in some ways of downgrading access to acute care. You know, hospitalization, mm-hmm. and it's a consequence of ignoring the needs of people who wind up in jail in spite of intensive community-based treatment. So it's a kind of but it's a tweak, and we need to get back to people who look at that objectively, whose first question is not money. Mm-hmm. And do it. And this is about our, you know, what's lost in the equation so far is I almost never hear someone at the State House talking about our duty. Never. And I certainly, there's things like accountability's gone, and things are so decayed that we really are to the point of duty. In fact, we're so close to, we're getting to the where the things are so decayed that it almost becomes illegal. Mm-hmm. And that's what I prefer is I prefer to see leaders talk about duty before we've degraded to the point where it's lawsuits instead of, you know, I mean, we have a duty to impaired people, and if you've been paying attention for the last century, I think it's a consensus that we have a duty to maintain social justice in our world. Mm-hmm. People need homes. I don't want to interrupt me if this story gets too long. I had two ladies come to my office. They're both Polish. One's a legal resident, and one's a non-documented resident. And the non-documented resident has schizophrenia, and the legal resident is dying of cancer. And of course, the non-documented resident, because we've been so good at identifying and scapegoating people, she's getting no benefits, and she's got schizophrenia. Mm-hmm. And so there's a mental health center that's trying to meet her needs with no reimbursement. And the two of them have had to reduce down to living in one apartment on general public assistance. Mm-hmm. And they came to me because they could not believe that I couldn't solve their problem. Mm-hmm. I mean, they couldn't believe that they were living in a country that didn't have a solution for two ladies who are severely impaired, who are about to starve to death mm-hmm. and lose their housing, you know, in their 50s. And regrettably, the answer was, welcome to the values of America.
Yeah.
You're illegal. You're a scapegoat, and you're dying of cancer, and good luck with GPA.
Right, right.
That's Dickensian England, and I feel like our generation has sort of failed the linear march of history towards. I mean, I don't think there's much debate among intelligent people about what social justice is, but there's a lot of debate out there among the know-nothings, the ones who would prefer bad government to good government and pretend it's no government.
I've got to ask you one more question. There's a point where you're potentially going to be reinstated as the mental health advocate for the state of Rhode Island. And I've been given the high sign that we're running out of time here, so I wanted to throw this one in here.
All right.
And a lot of people are concerned about this, Reed.
That's a very nice spin, Jim.
And I want to figure out just what is the process now at this point? I mean, you're up for reinstatement, correct?
Yes. I think the first thing you have to say is that my job is a job of political patronage. And it's somewhat insulated from ordinary patronage because the legislature wanted to protect the mental health advocate from the vicissitudes of the political winds. I mean, they knew that I'd be suing the state. So the appointment is a 5-year appointment confirmed by the Senate. And so during the 5-year term of appointment, you can't be discharged for anything short of criminal acts. And I've done the job 19 years, so I've been through this twice. And I'm a lame, I've been through lame duck, and the process is now underway, which I totally accept. I think I have enough distance from my personal life to recognize that it's okay to have to do this every 5 years. But the process is 14 people on a committee. The 14 people are blue ribbon, well-known people in mental health community, plus 4 consumers of mental health services who are generally also well-known. And they request resumes, and they interview candidates, and they send 3 names to the governor, who gets to choose 1 name on the 3. I was blessed in 1991 in that none of the 3 names was political, which is a rare enough event in the state of Rhode Island. Yeah. and I've been through it twice since, and I will do my darndest to get through it again. And I have advantages because I'm the incumbent, and I have disadvantages because I've both made friends and made enemies. Yeah. So.
Well, there's a lot of concern because the rumor mill is that there's a concern that the governor may not want to reappoint you. I'm assuming you've heard that. We've all heard it out here, so I don't know whether you've heard it at the office, but that's one of our concerns.
Yeah, and there have been, I've read things in the press out of the governor's office that seem to militate in that direction. It's not something I can control. Right. I think I have a pretty good relationship with the governor. I'm mostly off the governor's radar. And so I certainly I hope I'm not at a disadvantage for the 19 years of investment the state has made in making me an expert.
When will you know? When will they make a final decision?
Well, it's a slow process. So I honestly can't.
Months?
Well, so far, I think I would say it's a 2-month process, and it hasn't officially begun yet in the sense of reading a job posting for the mental health advocate on the internet or in a newspaper. So from that point, it's about a 2-month process. Okay. So it's hard to know.
All right. Well, we're gonna have to stop, I think, because I'm getting the high sign from Eduardo over there. So, but thank you so much for coming on today, Reed. And
such a pleasure.
We'll have to have you on again on Minds That Matter.